Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Esoterica and our continuing series, Unported Playlists, and today we're taking a look at the second of two Atomiswave games that have recently become available online that were never released back when the Atomiswave was a platform. While we take a look at the character selection screen, if you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. It definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined, there's a Patreon link down there as well if you want to support the channel. But we've already shown Kenju, the other saved and released Atomiswave game on the internet, and today we're taking a look at Force 5. And of the two games, I would definitely say I prefer this one a little bit less, but it does feel like a completely different game even if it's the same genre, so it might just be down to my personal preferences. But as you can see as you watch the footage, this game moves incredibly fast. It's a very fast-paced game, and I really enjoy that about it. The backgrounds are nice. There's a little weirdness with that infinite plane. As you turn the camera, your character moves. It kind of rotates at a different speed than the background bounding box kind of does. So it has a little bit of a strange look, but we saw that in things like Virtual Fighter, so it's just kind of a component of that look. The issue I have with Force 5 is Kenju felt much more finished than this game does, because I have yet to figure out how to pull off a special move against the CPU, and I have yet to see the CPU pull off a special move against me, so I don't know if they're even programmed into the game. The attacks you do have feel really nice, and they have good impact on them, but the movesets seem a little bit limited, and I'm assuming that's just down to the fact that probably they really even aren't included in the code, or maybe they're in the code but not hooked up as it were. And you'll see there, I was able to beat the game with a perfect on the first round. It's not that hard. But I do like the look of the game, I like the feel of the game, it is really fun, and it would have been great to see what this would have been like had it been finished. Now some of the other small issues are that the audio levels are very unbalanced. The sound effects are much louder than the background music to the point where they're almost clipping, and some of the music that starts the stage or after you win actually does clip out the audio completely. And like I said, it's not done, so I really can't judge that against the game. But let's talk about what I do like. The combat is super fast and fluid. It feels very much like Tekken, if maybe not even a little bit faster. So as far as, the fluidity and the pacing of the game, it's a really quick, intense match. And if you do two-player and you have another person playing with you, I haven't done that yet, I just tested that two-player works and I was able to make it work fine, I think it would be really fun. Now, the one thing I will say is that some of the characters share at least a partial move set. There's a couple of characters that have the same punch combos. I'm sure that's down to the fact, again, that it's not finished, but depending on who you're playing with, if you pick a different character, you may realize that outside of them looking different, dressing differently, they play almost near identical. But I love everything going on in the backgrounds, all the different settings, things like that. And some of the music tracks are pretty good. Some of them repeat, clearly again, not done, and that's going to be the theme of this video is anytime you're talking about an unreleased game, you have to kind of set aside your preconceived notions about what it should be because you have to kind of review it and talk about it as it is. And you have these little orbs that'll come out and they'll impact. They don't do any damage, it seems, but it is a component that it seems like projectiles were in there. But again, I tried with a second player and I just left that player sitting there and I tried all the different commands I could think of, trying different Street Fighter commands, King of Fighters, trying to play around with moves I have memorized, and nothing ever really came out as far as the play style was concerned. I wasn't able to pull off any specials. I do like that sign in the background, Wild West Ernest. I'm not even sure what that means. Clearly it's a translation error, but it just kind of makes me laugh. But it is still a really fun game, and I wish it had been finished. It's kind of interesting that two different fighting games were unreleased for the Atomiswave, and these aren't the only two games that have been shown that aren't available whatsoever. But again, the guy that found these, Shoetime, a big thanks to him. I also like collecting arcade games, and I can dump things when I get a chance, or, rare unreleased software for different consoles. So it's always, a big thumbs up when another collector does these sort of things, because these games were meant to be enjoyed, and it's always awesome when people are able to enjoy them. But this is going to be a really good example here. Ralph, my character, against Tony, and you're going to see we basically trade the same 3-punch combo back and forth. So at least in this instance, these characters share at least a partial move set. So if you're going to try to learn one character and you go to another one, you're going to end up in situations where it's just kind of the same thing. What I'll let you do is watch just a little bit of the next match so you can hear the sound effects and the music, and I'll come back and talk more about Force 5 and tell you guys how to actually get it running, because it's not easy. Now that we have a new character, Shura here, you're going to see that the moveset changes completely. He has this really almost like capoeira dance fighting to him, and if you thought the first couple characters moved fast, he moves with extreme speed. And there is a lot of different weights to the character. Some are going to move faster, some are going to move slower. This kind of feels a little bit like Dalsim from Street Fighter, except much, much faster. So there is a lot of mixture in the characters, even if I said some of them do share movesets. There's enough there really to keep you busy. Then as you move to somebody like Hound, again, the punch 3-set combo, his turns into a 4, but it feels relatively similar. And I have no idea what that purple beam coming out of the ground is. It looks like it's the start of a special attack that I'm pulling off, but it doesn't affect me, it doesn't affect my opponent, so really, I don't exactly know what's up with that. But I will say, when you're playing this game, it is going to sometimes just give you some issues. Whether you're playing it on original hardware or whether you're emulating it, you'll end up in a situation where you select a character like we're going to see here. I'm going to take Sokka, and I select her. We don't get any music. The game has frozen completely at this point in time. You either need to reset your emulation or you need to reset your Naomi, and then all of a sudden the next time I try it, I select her, you hear the music, and now she's going to work. Some people have written online that some of the characters just don't work. I've gotten them all to work at least once, but you're definitely going to end up in a situation where it does freeze. Again, it's very sensitive to the BIOS that you select to try to run it. If you're doing this on real hardware, you may have to have a multi-BIOS in there. You may need to burn different Naomi 2 BIOSes to try to get it to run. So I've had it work on multiple BIOSes before, and then the next time I try to run it, it doesn't work. So it's just obviously there's a problem in the code. It's going to be finicky, but generally once you get a character selected and you start playing, it's not going to freeze on you during gameplay or in between transitions from one match to the next. It's just getting the game to launch and getting your character select to work. That can sometimes take 5 to 10 minutes, but once you've gotten past that, you're good. And you can see here Sokka has a lot more moves. You have a nice punch combo, you have a projectile that does work, you have some good kicks, and she's a character that I feel like had just been finished a little bit more in comparison to some of the other ones. So a lot of fun. And if you see this, when you start your Naomi up, either original hardware or emulation, just restart it again. It might take 4 times, it might take 5 times, but there's something about the BIOS issue. You'll hear music, but the graphics are just totally distorted. And then you get fun stages like this against Raven. You're in like this cartoon factory, you have a metallic unicorn with wings in the back there, you've got this large purple bunny. The game definitely has a sense of humor, and I do enjoy it, and she's one of the few characters whose projectiles actually impact and cause damage. A lot of the other characters, the projectiles either don't do damage or they seem to kind of go right through your opponent. But do I recommend checking this game out? Totally. It is a lot of fun, definitely better with 2 players, and you even get to pick which boss you want to fight at the end. I went with the Grandmaster because I actually wanted to see the ending, but I will definitely play through and try Phantom and number 9 as well to see. But like every fighting game, it is so easy to get to the boss with 1 credit, and I'm definitely editing this, but it took me 7 attempts to finally be able to get past G-Master. So it's just your typical fighting game setup. The final boss is going to take at least a couple credits off you until you're able to beat him. But I will say, actually beating him, it's really easy just to cheese him, and you'll see that in a second. But I love the background. I love everything about Force 5 even though it's not done, and I think it's probably because I've loved playing unreleased games, I love game preservation, I love being able to see what we didn't get back in the day. But I can kind of understand compared to Kenju why this game didn't release. Even if it was finished, I think it would be a middle tier fighting game. But short of that is Force 5. If you could do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. If you have any questions or comments or need help getting this run, leave them down below. But I did beat the game, and I was able to say the super secret big ending, which is to say that there is no ending. It just freezes right here. I don't think there's an ending. There might not be code there. I beat it 3 times. It always froze. So you're going to end the video on complete silence with Ralph here just kissing to the audience. We'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Bye-bye.